Silence is where real power begins, and most people never notice it until it is too late. The loud world keeps telling you to announce every move, to show every step, to prove your worth again and again. But the truth works in the opposite way. The strongest transformations happen quietly, without attention, without validation, and without noise. There is a reason why some people suddenly level up while everyone else is still talking about their plans. They are not lucky. They are not special. They simply understand one thing that most people ignore. Not everything needs to be shared. Not everything needs approval. And not everything needs to be explained. The moment you stop broadcasting your life, you start taking control of it. The moment you move in silence, you remove pressure, expectations, and unnecessary opinions. What most people don't realize is that constant exposure weakens progress. The more you talk about your goals, the more your brain feels like the work is already done. This is not just motivation. This is backed by psychology. Studies have shown that when people publicly declare their intentions, they often lose the drive to actually complete them because they get a false sense of achievement. And that is why so many plans fail before they even begin. Not because people are incapable, but because they leak their energy in the wrong places. Quiet growth protects your focus. It protects your discipline. It protects your direction. And most importantly, it protects your peace. There is also another side that no one talks about. The more visible you are, the more you invite judgment, comparison, and negativity. Not everyone wants to see you win, and not every opinion deserves your attention. Moving in silence is not about hiding. It is about choosing what deserves your energy. It is about understanding that your life does not need a public audience to have value. Some of the most successful people in the world build in private and reveal in public only when the results speak for themselves. What looks like overnight success is often years of silent effort that no one ever saw. And that is where real confidence comes from. Not from likes, not from comments, but from knowing that you are improving without needing anyone to notice. This video will walk you through 11 things that are quietly holding you back. Things that most people keep in their lives without realizing the damage they cause. These are not obvious distractions. These are hidden patterns, silent habits, and unnoticed behaviors that slowly drain your time, your energy, and your potential. Removing them will not make noise, but it will change everything. You will start thinking clearer. You will feel lighter. You will move faster toward your goals without feeling stuck or overwhelmed. Each point in this video is simple but powerful, and the real impact comes when you apply them without announcing them. That is the difference between people who talk about change and people who actually transform. As you go through this, you may recognize parts of yourself that you never questioned before. That is where growth begins, not in public declarations, but in private awareness. Watch this video till the end because the last few points are often the most ignored, yet they have the biggest impact on your life. Missing them means missing the full picture, and understanding all 11 will give you a clear path to remove what no longer serves you without needing approval from anyone. This is not about becoming someone else. This is about removing what is stopping you from becoming who you already are. No noise, no pressure, just quiet, steady progress that speaks louder than anything you could ever say. Welcome to the channel. If you are ready to grow without distractions and move differently from the crowd, make sure to subscribe and stay with us. The shift starts quietly, almost unnoticed, like a small change in direction that slowly leads to a completely different life. Nothing dramatic happens in the beginning. No one claps. No one even sees it. But inside, something becomes clear. If peace is the goal, if focus is the goal, if real progress actually matters, then certain things cannot stay. Not everything deserves a place in your life, and not everything deserves an explanation when you remove it. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. Growth is not only about adding new habits or chasing bigger goals, it is also about deleting what is quietly holding you back. And most of the time, those things are not loud or obvious. They hide in daily behavior, in small thoughts, in patterns that feel normal. That is why most people never change. They try to build on top of chaos instead of clearing it first. But when you begin to remove things in silence, without announcing it, without making it a performance, everything starts to shift. Your mind feels lighter, your decisions become clearer, your energy stops leaking in unnecessary directions, and that is where real momentum begins. So if you truly want peace, focus, and real progress, then start removing these quietly one by one, without telling the world, without waiting for approval, just knowing that you are choosing better for yourself. Constant validation seeking is one of the most silent traps because it feels so normal. It feels like connection, like confidence, like staying involved. But in reality, it slowly takes control of your decisions. Every move starts to depend on how others will react. Every choice gets filtered through opinions, likes, comments, and approval. You stop asking what feels right and start asking what will be accepted. And without realizing it, you lose your direction. Living for reactions creates a loop that never ends. The more you seek it, the more you need it. And the less you trust yourself. Removing this does not mean cutting people off or isolating yourself. It means learning to make decisions without needing applause. It means doing things because they matter to you, not because they will impress someone else. When you stop chasing validation, you gain something much more powerful. You gain independence. Your confidence becomes real, not borrowed, and your progress becomes steady because it is no longer controlled by outside noise. Negative self-talk works in the background, almost invisible, but it shapes everything. It is that quiet voice that says you are not ready, not good enough, not capable enough. It repeats old doubts and keeps you in a smaller version of yourself. The dangerous part is that it feels like truth. It feels like reality, but it is not. It is just a habit of thinking that has been repeated too many times. And every time you listen to it, you reinforce it. Confidence does not disappear suddenly. It fades slowly through these small thoughts that go unchallenged. Removing negative self-talk is not about forcing fake positivity. It is about noticing the pattern and refusing to accept it as fact. It is about choosing better thoughts even when they feel unfamiliar. When this voice loses its control, something shifts. You stop holding yourself back before even trying. You start taking action without overthinking every step, and that alone can change the direction of your life. Toxic relationships are not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes they are quiet, subtle, and deeply draining. It is not always obvious at first. It can be small comments, lack of support, constant negativity, or a feeling that you are always giving more than you receive. These relationships slowly take your energy without giving anything meaningful back. And the hardest part is that leaving them often feels uncomfortable. There is history, there are memories, there is a sense of obligation, but staying in a draining environment keeps you stuck. Growth requires space, and toxic connections fill that space with unnecessary weight. Removing them does not need an announcement. It does not need conflict. It can be done quietly by creating distance, by setting boundaries, by choosing where your time goes. When you step away from what drains you, you create room for what actually supports you. And that change is powerful, even if no one else notices it. Comparing yourself to others is one of the fastest ways to lose focus. It looks harmless, just scrolling, just observing, just noticing what others are doing. But slowly it changes how you see your own life. You start measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. You start feeling behind, even when you are moving forward. Social media creates a filtered version of reality, but your mind treats it as complete truth. And that creates pressure that does not belong to you. The problem is not awareness of others. The problem is losing sight of yourself. When you remove comparison, you bring your attention back to your own path. You start valuing your own progress, no matter how small. You stop rushing just because others seem ahead, and that allows you to move with clarity instead of pressure. Fear of missing out pushes people into decisions that do not align with who they are. It creates a constant feeling that something better is happening somewhere else, that if you are not part of it, you are falling behind. And because of that, you say yes to things that do not matter. You follow trends that do not fit you. You spend time in places that do not help you grow. Slowly you lose direction because you are always reacting instead of choosing. Removing this fear brings a different kind of freedom. You start understanding that not everything is meant for you. And that is not a loss, that is clarity. When you are not afraid of missing out, you focus on what truly matters to you. And that focus creates deeper satisfaction than any temporary experience ever could. Old habits that no longer serve you often stay because they feel comfortable. They are familiar. They require no effort. But comfort can be dangerous when it stops growth. These habits repeat daily, shaping your actions without you even thinking about them. And over time, they become your normal. The problem is that your normal may not be leading you where you want to go. Removing these habits is not easy because it requires breaking patterns that feel safe. But growth never comes from staying the same. It comes from choosing discomfort in small, consistent ways. When you start replacing old patterns with better ones, even slowly, you begin to move forward again. And that progress builds over time in ways that feel almost effortless. Over-explaining yourself comes from a need to be understood, accepted, and justified. It feels like clarity, but often it is just wasted energy. Not everyone needs an explanation. Not everyone will understand even if you explain perfectly. And trying to convince people who are not willing to listen only drains you. The more you explain, the more you give control of your decisions to others. Removing this habit is about trusting your choices without needing approval. It is about speaking less and standing firm. When you stop over-explaining, you protect your energy. You become more direct, more confident, and more focused on what actually matters. Procrastination does not always look like laziness. Sometimes it looks like waiting for the right moment, overthinking details, or staying busy with small tasks instead of doing the important ones. It feels harmless at first, but it slowly delays everything that matters. Days pass, then weeks, then months, and nothing significant changes. The hardest part is that you are aware of it, but still stuck in the cycle. Removing procrastination starts with action, not motivation. Small steps, taken consistently, break the pattern. And once you start moving, even slowly, the resistance begins to fade. Progress creates momentum, and momentum makes everything easier. The need to control everything creates constant pressure. You try to plan every outcome, predict every result, and avoid every possible mistake. But life does not work that way. The more you try to control it, the more stress you create. Overthinking replaces action, and fear replaces progress. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means focusing on what you can control and releasing what you cannot. When you stop trying to control every detail, you create space for flexibility, for growth, and for unexpected opportunities. Holding on to past mistakes keeps you stuck in a version of yourself that no longer exists. Guilt and regret repeat the same memories, making it hard to move forward. But the past cannot be changed, it can only be learned from. When you hold on to it, you carry unnecessary weight into the present. Removing this does not mean forgetting. It means accepting, learning, and moving forward without constant self-punishment. That shift allows you to focus on what you can do now instead of what you should have done before. Fake buzziness creates the illusion of productivity. You stay occupied, always doing something, always moving but not actually progressing. It feels productive because you are active, but the results are missing. This kind of busyness often hides discomfort. It avoids the real work, the meaningful tasks that require focus and effort. Removing fake busyness means being honest about what truly matters. It means choosing quality over quantity, impact over activity, and when you make that shift, your time starts to work for you instead of against you. Real change does not need noise, and it does not need an audience. The strongest version of you is built in moments no one sees, in decisions no one hears about, and in discipline that no one claps for. That is where everything shifts. Not in talking, not in announcing, but in quietly choosing better again and again. When you remove what no longer belongs in your life, you do not just create space around you, you create clarity within you. Your mind becomes calmer, your actions become sharper, your direction becomes stronger, and slowly, without forcing it, your life begins to reflect that change. People may not notice at first, and that is the point. Because when the results finally show, they speak louder than anything you could have said. No explanations, no justifications, just proof. Moving differently means understanding that not everyone needs access to your journey. Moving quietly means protecting your energy while you build something real. You do not need approval to grow. You do not need permission to change. And you definitely do not need to announce every step to make it valid. What matters is consistency, even when it is boring, even when it feels slow, even when no one is watching. That is where real strength is built. If this connected with you, then you already feel what needs to change. There is no need to wait for the perfect moment. Start today, in silence, without pressure, without telling anyone. Just knowing that you are choosing a better path for yourself. And if you want more content like this, content that helps you think clearly and move with purpose, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear this.